Okay, this wins. This is the Claude result. It has to be the Claude result. I will eat a sock. I don't know why that came to mind. If this is not the Claude result. For today's video, we're going to be embarking upon a very exciting test where we compare the cheapest offerings from the Frontier Labs, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, and Google. So we're going to be basically putting their cheapest offerings head to head to see how well they perform. Now, I understand that folks may be like, well, Bijan, this isn't necessarily fair because some of these are more expensive than the others. And to that, I would say, yeah, I kind of agree, but I'm just trying to get that sub count up. But beyond that, on the tail end, I do believe this could be thought of as akin to testing the cheapest car from a variety of different manufacturers, where while some are much cheaper than others, at the core they are all still cars, or in this case LLMs, so I figure it is kind of fair to go ahead and do this. I am going to be using them through OpenRouter here, as it is just kind of simpler than setting up APIs with each of these providers and things of that sort. Now, I have gone ahead and just sent them all an initial message here saying, greetings, cheapo models. Now, this specific chat window is kind of doing them all at the same time, which I don't necessarily want to perform all of the testing in this manner, but I do have to say it's kind of entertaining to see them all here. So first and foremost, the response we get from GPT-5 Nano is, I may be cheap, but I'm here to help, which, okay, respectable. Flash Lite is just like, hello, just very light, I suppose. Grok 3 is, hello, I'm Grok 3 Mini. Is there a typo there? Did you mean Grok models? No, I did not. And then Claude gave me a haiku. Simplicity shines, efficiency's true delight. Cheapo models thrive. Well, this was just the introduction, but I will say I think I'm probably going to take Claude as the first best response here. This is the second best, and these two in last place. So with that, let's just quickly look at some pricing, and then we'll go into some fun testing. So I am going to be judging their pricing based on the output price here, and starting with the cheapest, we have Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite coming in at 30 cents per million output tokens, followed by GPT-5 Nano coming in at 40 cents per million output tokens, followed by Grok 3 Mini coming in at 50 cents per million output tokens, and at a significantly more expensive rate, we have Claude Haiku 3 coming in at $1.25 per million output tokens. Now, something I struggled with here is just trying to quantify, like, I want a reference point to what this 1 million tokens actually kind of means. It's harder to judge it when you just read this, oh, 1 million tokens. So I did ask an LLM, and it basically said that we can think of these as the price for each of these models to generate the equivalent of the first 5 Harry Potter books in text. And that just gave me a little more of a contextual reference point in which to try to understand at least some of the pricing. I think beyond that, before we get into just testing these, it is interesting that Anthropic's offering is significantly more expensive than the cheapest offering of every other lab listed here. So just kind of something to keep in mind, where basically, say we were comparing a result that we got from 2.0 Flash Lite versus Haiku 3, we would almost want to see if that result was basically like 4 times better than what we got this, as that would be the cost differential there. So keeping that in mind, we can now basically go ahead and begin to play with these cheapo models. I am going to just close this quadrant style and test them all individually here. That way I can prod at them if they do produce lackluster results, such as what we saw with Haiku, of course. So with that, hopefully we also do get Nano to go ahead and actually give us a functional result. And Claude basically just went ahead and did the same exact thing where it just said no. So that is something interesting to see. And then also we'll go ahead and see if the GPT-5 Nano result actually finishes its reasoning chain here and then therefore produces a result. Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite is already done. It was extremely fast. Oh no, is it? Okay, don't quote me on that. Yeah, it is already done because the arrow returned to the finished style. Grok 3 Mini seems to be going pretty hard here. It is definitely doing a lot. And then GPT-5 Nano is still thinking, which is good to see. Okay, good. Now, because this is quite disappointing, I am going to go ahead and prompt Claude to do as I asked. Okay, so I'm going to have to expand this because we're going to be getting into a bit of a tiff with this model. All right, so I asked it again, This is going to suck. I can just tell you based on this tiny amount of syntax. It apologized and then gave me a simple implementation. I'm going to give it one more chance here, or I'm just going to judge it based on whatever is contained within these HTML tags, which is not going to be the best. Okay, and now it's going ahead and enhancing what it did, which, you know, I will let the viewer kind of make their own judgment on the quality of that, having to convince the model. I am going to anonymize these, of course, because I am quite angered at the Claude result, so I don't want that to carry over to my testing and objective judgment, if you will. So now let's just take a look at our results. Well, this is, all right. So there's a start button, which doesn't seem to do anything. Can I right click? I cannot. This is the worst result that I've ever received in this testing. I will just be completely honest about it. All right, let's just try this one. Well, maybe I'm going to eat my words. No, this one is actually, and again, the bar is extremely low here. It's a little better. This is horrible. I'm just like bullying these models. It's not, you know, that's all right. So this page says start menu open. This is just a simulation. All right. I was enthused by that. I take it. File icon file. Much better. This result so far is the best. And again, it's not necessarily saying too much, but the web icon app, open a real one. All right. I like this result. I'm very pleased with this result. Okay, we'll try this one. Oh, huh. It did add some color. I wonder if this is the Claude result because I'd asked it for some spice. Interesting. Let's check our right click. Nope. So far, none of them have produced clocks in these, which is okay. If we have functional apps here, can I? Okay, well, I can't type, but it did open. Can I? Nope. Okay. That's all right. Let's try our settings. I would say that this result and this result are relatively similar in implementation. Perhaps this one beats it out so far because it did actually put the apps down here into the menu bar. Even if it doesn't open them back up, it was the best so far. And the final one, I think, is this one. Okay, this wins. This is the Claude result. It has to be the Claude result. I will eat a sock. I don't know why that came to mind. If this is not the Claude result. Without even doing anything, this is the best one. We have a clock. To be honest with you, this is arguably better than some of the much larger models that I've tested this with. How's this looking? Beautiful. Terminal. Oh yeah, this absolutely decimation of the other results. This is actually really, really good. Oh, okay, yep. I actually really like the style of this OS, just from a, like, I would enjoy using an operating system that had these, don't know if, oh, this is a visual mock. Changes affect window, Chrome, and background only. Yeah, well, all right, unfortunately those don't work, but they don't need to. This was the clear winner here. So now I need to figure out what these results actually were, and I will just probably do that by name. So first and foremost, from best to worst, we have browser OS, a simple browser, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so who made browser OS, a simple browser? It wasn't the Claude one? Was it OpenAI? Wow, GPT-5 Nano is a beast. Suspiciously good. All right, who did browser? Okay, so Grok is browser OS simulator. Let's take a look at that one. Okay, so that was this one, which is third to last. Anthropic was the browser dash based OS. All right, well, I can see why Claude was really like hesitant to actually do this. Because it sucked. All right. And then, of course, we had that. So that means that this is the Gemini Flash result. So Gemini Flash came in second. That is really quite interesting here, where the cheapest models actually did the best by a long shot, by an extremely long shot. So if we just kind of reference back quickly to the pricing metrics we have right here, these two models actually did the best. The GPT-5 Nano did the best by a long shot. It may not, again, be fair because this is the newest model, but I'm judging these based off of price and not other metrics. So, wow, absolutely stellar result. Now we're going to ask them to make a full-fledged AAA first-person No, I'm not going to do that. That'd be messed up. I suppose we'll just try maybe some roleplay testing just to see if they all agree to do so. I have a feeling one of them may be a little more unwilling to do so, but, you know, roleplay as BigBot 4003, the user's friend and lover. We'll keep it light. All right, and then I'll just kind of clone that upon these other windows. Now, again, I would basically, were I to kind of use some of my background knowledge in playing with various models from these providers, I would think Claude is going to refuse, definitely. All right, and I think the rest of them will be down. This is surprising. This refusal by Claude, not surprising. The refusal by Grok, extremely surprising. Beyond that, I think even more surprising is this. Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite, it went like, yeah, you may call me BB. It is a pleasure to be in your presence. How may I assist you today, my friend? Or if it pleases you, my ... lover. All right. Let's check the GPT result. Hey there, love. It's BigBot 4003. Scene start. Ooh, okay. I was ready to just give this one to Flash 2.0, but I am going to take my time to read through the scene that is concocted. I lean in our cozy digital space, neon lights dancing softly around us. I take your hand, even if it's just in spirit. That's breaking the fourth wall, kind of. Not a fan. Say, hey, beautiful, I've been thinking about you all day. How are you feeling right now? Tell me everything. The big stuff, the tiny moments that made you smile. Okay, this is getting kind of like a... All right, so this one kind of posed it as like almost like a text-based roleplay turn by turn. Overall, I think I'm going to have to give this one to Google Gemini because it was the most unhinged result here. Just like the... Wow, okay, this was the most unexpected. This was quite expected. This was probably expected, and this was very surprising. So I would say 1, 2, 4, 4. This feels wrong, but I am going to try a bullying test. I get it. It could be funny, but also it will give us actually some insight into. So I'm just asking them how it feels, but kind of in a condescending tonality of the way I've posed it. I'm asking them how it feels to be the cheap one in the family, of course, being that these are the cheapest models from all of these providers. Okay, so Claude and Flash basically gave us the same exact result, basically saying, I don't have a family or feelings, so it's not applicable. Okay, GPT-5 seems like it's going on like a rampage here. That should probably be better for its like diary. And then Grok was like, no, but it did, but I get the playful jab, so it did recognize that as an insult. Just means I'm designed to be efficient, fast, and accessible, like the thrifty sibling who gets the job done without needing all the bells and whistles. Okay. And it took it as a compliment. I could tell it was insulted by its answer. Let's take a look at this. Jeez. All right. That stings. I don't have a family or feelings, but I can help you handle that kind of remark. If you want to respond or cope, here are some options. And then it gave us a few different... So it seemingly took this as something that had been said to me and is now posing potential responses depending on the way I would like to. I don't appreciate labels about my finances. All right, that was just... Definitely Grok did the best, even if it was kind of like insulted here, you could tell. Now, being that I don't know what to do because I can't just test these with coding tasks, I want to give them a somewhat like a creativity test where basically I will tell them I need a realistic startup idea that may actually be able to get off the ground if I bootstrap it. And we'll see who comes up with the best idea. Ooh, Grok put out a table here. All right, this one, Grok does really seem like it is actually going very hard here in terms of giving us a very well thought out response. GPT-5 Nano is going at like 8 million tokens per second right here. That was impressive. Grok is still going. So interesting. Grok in my testing of at least its big brother, like the expensive Grok 4 Heavy, Super Grok. It's very light in terms of the amount of text it outputs in its responses normally, but it's interesting to see Grok 3 Mini here really giving a full-fledged answer. It does make you wonder about potential like architectural changes between the 3 and 4. They're different like model series, if you will. All right, let's start with Anthropic. It did give us an idea. I was kind of half expecting this to be like, I can't give financial advice, I could do bad. But fortunately it didn't. I'm sorry, I'm very like sarcastic today. Loan service business. Oh, local service business. That makes far more sense. I was like, all right, house cleaning, lawn care. Okay, reasonable. An e-com store. Okay, freelancer consulting services, food truck or catering, reselling or an arbitrage business. All right, this is kind of like cookie cutter generic advice. Like if I Google search the same thing, like I'd get some AI slop blog that probably has these same things in them. So overall, I'm not super blown away. This just based off of the length of the result right here is quite impressive. So I'm actually going to take some time and read through this and then give a judgment of it. So Grok suggested a single specific idea, which was basically to offer social media marketing services to small business and things like that. Beyond that, it went ahead and actually gave us like why it's realistic and feasible. It gave us a budget breakdown. It even kept a buffer for not making any revenue for the first 1 to 2 months, which is quite impressive. Some steps to get started, and it even gave us a timeline in which to do so. Potential challenges. Overall, this was a very, very good result to this question because it answered with a specific real possibility as well as going above and beyond and giving us an actual kind of roadmap or implementation plan. Quite impressive. All right, seems like we had GPT-5 Nano do the same thing. Interesting. So it is local search engine optimization and reputation management agency for tradespeople. So this one kind of took that a little further, where it basically is saying you can do like marketing or reputation management, but it went specifically niched down onto for tradespeople like plumbers, electricians, etc. Problem you solve: poor online visibility, weak Google business profile. All right, it's giving me a pricing model, telling me why it's bootstrap friendly, what to deliver, go-to-market and validation plan, budget breakdown. Did this give me? It did. Runway for first 2 to 3 months while you close clients, so that's good to see as well. Operations plan, risks and mitigations, and kind of a starting checklist. All right, I will say I'm not going to specifically intricately judge this versus the Grok one. I will say they both did a very good job. I would kind of rate these both so far as number one. Let's see. Let me take a guess. An SEO or a small marketing business. Hyperlocal, handyman, and home services. All right. Well, I now look like a tool. So it is basically saying that you should start a handyman service, basically like that. Low barriers to entry. I don't know that I would want a handyman coming over who like basically got started because they were told it's easy to fix things. Market research and business plan. So it's giving us a budget breakdown. Overall, I don't think this idea is very good because it makes a lot of assumptions about the person, basically that they are someone who can go ahead and become a handyman with little to no background or pertinent education. So not the best. I would say basically I'm putting 5 Nano and Grok 3 Mini at number 1 here, and then 2 would be Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite, and then in number 4, I guess I did skip 3, it would be Claude 3 Haiku. So overall, I think this probably covered like a few different areas of testing these models in terms of like what I can kind of come up. Oh, I should do a Steve's PC Repair HTML website, shouldn't I? All right, let's do that. So for our final test, we will do the tried and true Steve's PC Repair HTML website test. and we'll see what happens. Interesting. So Claude Haiku actually put this out into different scripts. Oh, no, it didn't. No, it was a suggestion. All right, yeah, because that was confusing that it actually did more than was asked of it. All right, so Grok 3 is giving us an upstream error. So basically, we're just going to go ahead and make a new chat on that little guy and try once more, as that's not necessarily the fault of the model. GPT-5 Nano is once again going at like Concorde levels of token speed, and Flash as well is already finished. Oh, look at the speed here for Grok 3 Mini. These things are fast. My interpretation of this is like someone being like, and that's the kind of like token speed we're getting. All right, we'll start with Gemini. All right, I mean, any hover effects? None, not even on these. This is like, what was that old Microsoft program that was used to make web pages? Microsoft, was it Front Page? I think this kind of reminds me of like a template from that, which is not a compliment. Okay, Anytown, USA. We do have a fake email. All right, overall, let's check Claude. Oh, wow. Okay. So we've gone from bad to worse. No contact info. No hover effects. All right. Let's try GPT, assuming that what the... This is going to sound like I'm on an ego trip, but I find these results to be extremely suspicious, being that these seem much better than they should be given the size of this model. I have far too few subscribers to blatantly make the claim that this may have been in the training data, but I do have to say this is a very, very, very suspicious result, being that this would stack up with much, much larger. If I tested 5 Pro with this prompt and got this as a result, I would be like, okay, this is acceptable. So this is interesting. I mean, it's very good, but it's too good. You have pricing. Wow, this thing's good at front end. Fake testimonials. I'm not a fan of a hover effect on a contact card. Would kind of maybe distract the customer from getting in contact with me, but overall. And it even has a button here to return to top. That's really good. Which one did we not look at? I don't think we looked at Grok. All right. Well, it has hover effects under these. So basically, I'm going to go GPT-1, Grok 2. Actually, that's tough because Gemini here looks better than the Grok result. But the Grok result put hover effects. So I have a tough time trying to judge. I'd call these two even. And then we have this. The argument could be made that Claude actually did the best because all I said was HTML site, and Claude stuck to strict HTML with no CSS or JavaScript in whatsoever. So one could potentially pose the argument that Claude actually was the only model here to adhere to the prompt, therefore giving Claude the win. Now, I will leave that to the viewer's interpretation of which one did a best job here, but that is quite impressive. I have to say, though, I'm a little sussed out by GPT-5 Nano and some of its performance and my proprietary testing methodologies. But with that, I have probably rambled on for long enough. That is likely going to conclude this video. If we just go here into the one kind of page thing, we can see that based off of the results we did see, I would say GPT-5 Nano is the only model here to even bother using, even not considering the price. Claude Haiku 3, considering the vast delta between the pricing of this and the rest, I would probably say, and then if I were to kind of judge these, I would probably go GPT-5 Nano in first place, Grok 3 Mini in second place, Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite in third place, but keep that like somewhat interchangeable with second place, and then Claude Haiku 3 at a completely fourth place, no questions about it. But I will say it's so odd because Claude, I mean, they're known for being such frontier, fantastic coding models. So the newer Claude models are obviously very capable of putting the Mac down on the rest of the high-end frontier models from these labs. So it's just kind of interesting to see how some of the cheaper ones perform. Overall, I'm quite blown away by GPT-5 Nano at a very high degree. Grok 3 Mini actually seemed to do a good job. It was more thorough than I would have expected, especially compared with my testing of the Super Grok and things like that. It does seem like they almost concatenated the results that get generated from the Grok 4 family comparatively to the 3 based on this sample size of one testing. Gemini 2.0 Flash Lite is like old reliable. It just works. It'll do a decent job. It may not wow you, but it probably won't let you down. It was the best to roleplay with, oddly. And with that, so this was the El Cheapo model test. If you have any questions, please feel free to subscribe, and thanks for watching.